COT's base of operations is right here at thecounciloftime.com. COT has no other outlet or venue. These are other folks who will rebroadcast, like DailyExcellence, who is authorized to rebroadcast by way of video.
The queue. I need to know what the area code. So hang on a minute, everybody, just 1 second. Let's see if we can get that information. He said he just now pressed 1. Is it the same area code, I wonder? I'll go look. I'll go look again. See what we got here, folks. Hang on. That must be him right there. So let me call that number through the system. So hang on, Mike. Just stay right where you're at. I think I have you. You just popped up on the screen there. Wow. We got to jump through a lot of hoops anymore. But as long as it works, now that we know we can do this, and for some reason it went to this instead of what it did yesterday, I just don't understand it. But here we go. He should hear this in a second. Hello? Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, Mike. How you doing?
Okay, I'm doing okay.
I don't know why we have to do it this way, but literally I'm calling you from off Blog Talk Radio, but you're coming through my personal cell phone. Don't ask me why. I don't know.
Well, when you did, when I called into Blog Talk, it took me several attempts, and I kept getting knocked off. So I thought it was in queue, and then I pressed 1, and pressed 1 again, and it kept saying, "You're now in the host queue. You're now in the host queue." So, strange thing.
Mike, okay, yeah, it is. And it's because they changed their system. They did away with the old system, put in a new one, and they're having tons of problems with all of their radio hosts, and, we're just working through it and being patient. Mike, hey, September's coming, 44 days away.
Yes, it is. It's going to be quite warm there, too.
Is it?
Quite warm.
Quite warm.
The right temperature for an explosion.
Well, okay, it's going to be a very powerful, flammable moment, won't it? I mean, the Spirit of God is going to move. Amen.
Yeah, it'll be a beautiful time. I really am looking forward to it, and it's going to be a beautiful time.
Yeah, I was thinking about you. I was thinking, man, I bet you are really just like, wow, just to, to be free. I mean, to be free is a great feeling, and I'm not saying it because of you have, no doubt you've had a great career, and it's hard to let go and change and to have a total change of life as that is. But still, there's going to be some liberation here, some freedom. Mike, these waves of energy, obviously, I mean, we just had a 6.9 earthquake in Alaska. Then yesterday, 7.0 Indonesia. Today, 6.3 Alaska. We've been in the last 10 days. We're averaging over 40 earthquakes a day. So, and we're having all kinds of volcanic eruptions, just like you were concerned would happen. As this August 17th is the date you set, or the information you have, that we should have the fullest impact of these waves of energy. Can you give us any updates of anything that has changed or we may need to know?
Well, it's still on schedule, and they're still evaluating things that are happening in the Earth. One of the areas of interest, personally to me, would be the Charlie Gibbs fracture zone, which is in the North Atlantic Ocean. It seems to be, if it begins to spread, it will actually cause a lot of seismic activity near Japan and Asia and those places. Certainly in the islands, and I'm really, because of that fracture zone, which goes all the way down to the South Atlantic, I'm also somewhat mantle, and all the way down to the mantle transition. It's being monitored for changes in our crust. But it's not just Earth. This is happening with all the planets. All the ice caps are melting from Mars and Earth, and other planets are going through the same thing. So, as I said before, August 17th is the detection of this wave as it passes through our solar system. It could be nothing. It could be catastrophic. No one knows. There's no way to tell until the effect of it actually, this exotic energy actually reaches into the solar system. And but we'll certainly know, around that time what the effects could be. But as of this point, no one knows what it can do. No one knows what it's capable of doing. They can speculate, but they really will not know.
Wow. I mean, this is incredible. The fact that they know it's coming, it's a wave of energy. Like you're saying, it's more than just affecting the Earth. It's affecting all the planets in our solar system. So when you said that, I mean, I started to see this massive tsunami of energy. And, like I said, Heidi and I were standing when we were in Fort Lauderdale for our conference down there. The next day we went down to the ocean and just was standing there watching the waves come in from the Atlantic Ocean. And Heidi says to me, do you understand the disturbance that the waves are creating underneath the wave, the earth, the sand, the things that's being moved around? She said, that's what I believe Mike is saying, that this wave of energy, God is showing her that it's literally a disturbance in the heavens. And it is going to affect not just the earth, but all the planets, the stars, the comets. Mike, is it going to knock some things out of orbit or off track? I mean, I'm saying, what about satellites that are surrounding the Earth? Could it knock them off their orbits and their directions?
It could. The other energy traces they're picking up behind it would make this small one coming in August 17th look like a 5-inch wave compared to a 500-foot wave. So the difference between this first one and the others that are on the way are expansive. The difference is very expansive. I'll say this. I'll speculate myself that one of these waves will end up being damaging, very damaging. What I've noticed already is an increase in the Earth's core's activity. Now, I know that's not all of it's not due to this wave. I personally believe that some of it's due to some spiritual aspects of folks, but I do believe that one of these waves is going to be quite dangerous for the Earth. It will be Earth altering. And as far as the timing goes for these other waves, I'm not sure. I will be informed about that and find out, because I have an interest in a field of study. Probably won't discuss here, but in a field of study, looking at these waves and the transitions. I guess that's why I'm so serious here lately.
Yeah, I noticed.
The clock is running out, and everybody's preparing except for civilians or the regular populace. There's a lot of speculation as to what all these military movements and so forth and so on are. And one thing I can determine is prophecy is real, and that they're not spending all this money for maneuvers just for a simulation or test. It's not that it's too expensive. It's too expensive, too risky. It does affect the economy and other components of our national structure, and so they wouldn't risk setting up something so massive and potentially be dangerous. Just for training, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Israel's going through 3 days of the largest military drill they've ever done in their history of their nation, calling up tens of thousands of reservists and putting them through a drill scenario as if they were attacked on 3 fronts. Mike, that takes a lot of money. That costs a lot of money to do. And I know they're not doing it because of maybe imminent attacks as much as they might be preparing for a a counterattack after they've launched something. I don't know. But there's a lot of assets moving around, whether it be the Russians, the Chinese, the Americans, the British, you name it, they're all moving. And it takes a lot of money to move a lot of personnel and hardware different places. So, Mike, does every nation understand the wave of energy coming? Are they all up to speed with this?
Yes, they are. The scientific community of all nations, they generally work together, right? And so they give advisements to their military counterparts. And so their forces from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea down to Syria, Philippines, Turkey, Indonesia, Cuba, all these guys, they are preparing themselves for something unusual. And not going into how they prepared, because remember 2 years ago they just had they were training on an alien invasion, right?
Yeah.
But that alien invasion was not for aliens. It was for, they often do this when there's an unknown tactic involved in any global war. And so what we're seeing is a setup for a global war. Instabilities have reached the peak. I don't know if anybody has noticed, but nobody's really looking in the direction of a racial war. The damage from leadership in the United States has already been done. It's not going back to the way it used to be, not without a change. And now you have factions of both Caucasian and African American, and now the Latino individuals and Asian individuals, they're all turning against each other.
Yeah.
And the government, our government is being poised because they know they're going to lose control of individuals. You see, they can check the chatter. And the chatter indicates that small factions, which are turning large inside the United States, are actually organizing now for some type of counteroffensive toward the government. And at this point, it does not matter if the government does anything. It's a runaway effect. It's a snowball effect. And they're preparing, and the more they do prepare, the more their readiness mindset becomes more it just increases. And so these guys are not going to sit idle for long. Now, they're in every single state. They are malicious, but they're not the known malicious that people know about. And they're just not going to go with the policies that are in place, nor the ones that will pass a few days from now. They're not going to deal with these policies. So you're looking at some type of civil dissension taking place right now. By trending, the government knows that this was going to take place. And so they have set certain forces in place to deal with that. And then the other half of the population, well, they seem to fuel this fire, right? They're fueling this fire.
Well, you said that the Confederate flag, you watched the Confederate flag is going to be an issue. It's going to start a problem. And you said it before it was even brought up, about 2 days before it was brought up. And then there was an issue that came out, and it's still kind of going. I don't think it alone will break the camel's back, but certainly there was there's been a shift in cultural understanding that's, in your opinion, is getting worse because of some of the decisions being made in our government.
Exactly. And it's going to continue to escalate. And all the while this is happening, it would appear that the earth is responding to violence itself. And I know that's a hard gap for people to capture. But, Pastor, I'm a saved person by the blood of the Lamb. And the spiritual world governs everything here. But the earth is responding to people's hearts. And it's, all these things are tying it together like a cosmic puzzle.
Well,
what people don't understand is violence is increasing, and it's entering into the hearts of just about everybody. If they're not careful, they'll partake in this violence. And there's something else that's happening all the while these things are being set up. Violence is increasing. A racial war will begin. Now they have Hispanics against Hispanics.
No, I mean, I'm not aware of that at all. No.
They
But
have the legal immigrants against the illegal immigrants. They're having people fight against their own brother, and is what they're doing. Now, I'm not for illegal immigration, right? But somehow they have seduced the Hispanics that are in America right now against those who would come in illegally.
wow.
They've turned them against them, through, and it's very seductive in the way it is, because people are actually trying to appease the system.
Yeah. So, Mike, another question real quick. There's been this report by Fox News about a massive earthquake, 9.2, 700-mile tsunami wave, affecting as many as 7 million Americans, could kill 13,000, they estimate. Is there seismic activity? Is there things going on up in the North Pacific? And is it related to any of the volcanoes up there? You got Mount Rainier, you got Mount St. Helens. Is there any of that happening?
Yeah, the Pacific Plate is altering around the Ring of Fire near the Mendocino fracture zone. There's a lot of activity north of that due to volcanic activity. Now, underwater volcanic activity is very hard to spot, except for the bubbles that surface all over the place. But it is so active in the North Pacific that they see the plate movements taking place. And by the way, they have GPS sensors, so they can actually see these different subduction zones and things of that nature change. They can see the change over time. And you have collision zones and certain hotspots that are on the West Coast. But here's what they're not telling everybody. If the West Coast, if that northern plate begins to shift too much, it's going to affect the African plate, which is going to affect the North Atlantic Ocean. And I know that's hard to capture, but the fluid dynamics in the Earth are simply going to shift, going right to the North Atlantic, where there's already a crack, increasing the vibration in the North Atlantic. So I know everybody's saying that the West Coast is in danger, but the East Coast is too.
So you're saying it's a chain reaction, that if one of these plates that are in the ocean really gives, and it's a jolt, and we're talking 9+ quake, but the plate itself, they're interactive somehow. They create a chain reaction that could be devastating.
They sure do. They absolutely will. And because there's already a deep fracture in the North Atlantic, well, that's going to make things worse.
So, Perry Stone has been having a dream that he's had recurring of water, as if it's a tsunami almost, pouring into the East Coast and into the West Coast. And he's had it several times. Now, it may not mean that there's an actual physical water going to come in, but let me ask you from a scientific standpoint. Let's say that it does. Let's say that what he's seeing, is it possible that a simultaneous, or not simultaneous, but a 1-2 punch could happen in one event? Is it possible to have a tsunami hit the East Coast and a few hours later hit the West Coast? Is that even conceivable, scientifically?
According to Navy research laboratory models, it's not only conceivable, but it's probable. In fact, there would be a shifting of water over the entire Earth. So water would actually find its way deep inside of Africa. And keep in mind, in certain parts of Africa, I don't know if anybody's aware of this, but there was ocean water. There was a rip in Africa where a ocean-type stream formed in the course of hours.
No, I did not hear about that. I mean, somebody else here might be listening that has, but no, I did not know that. I did not hear that.
Yeah, so we have some very bad crustal displacement activity happening, and geologically things are so slow. The average person will admit that we become accustomed to the dangers or to the news, and we simply ignore it. But these things are happening. They're not slowing down by not all of them, but in a lot of animal deaths, they have found neurological, their brains just turn to jello.
Yeah, I know it. And that's crazy. Now, one more thing here, the Iranian nuke deal, okay? Since it was announced, let's just go this way. Since it was announced, and now that people are starting to digest it and start to read it, we got this obligation clauses in page 142 and 159 that says the 6 superpowers are obligated to protect the Iranian nuclear facility. Just because, and also it appears that we went from Iran being isolated to Israel being isolated in the stroke of a pen. Is this, because of this agreement, have we seen a significant shifting of assets and repositioning of ships and troops by many nations or by the 6 superpowers or even the Iranians? Are we seeing that directly resulting from this agreement, or is it still just happening because of other reasons? Or has there been a significant shifting in posturing since this agreement has been ratified or signed?
Pastor, it's a good question, by the way, and it's a very sad topic. It's a very disheartening topic. But, it just sickens me that, and I know it's in prophecy, but in prophecy it states that every nation will be against Israel.
Yeah.
Every nation. Well, Pastor, I hate to tell everybody this, but whether by policy or posture, every nation is against Israel. No one is standing with Israel. Right now, no one is. And through policies, they have, in effect, surrounded Israel with limitations. They are back in captivity again because they can't do what they want to do. And in the Bible, you read about those in Jerusalem going captive again, the nation of Israel going back into captivity. Pastor, here's what I believe, and this is just from my pea brain. I believe that due to politics, due to the sentences of bills and so forth and agreements that have been passed, Israel is again in captivity. They cannot do what they want to do. They cannot defend their land based on policy and get away with it. And so the entire Middle East has been restructured against Israel. And the 2 leading factions that will open the doorway to go into Israel are Turkey and Jordan. And I know a lot of people can't see the Turkey-Jordan tie, but believe me, in 1947, they made a deal, and they have upheld that agreement till this time. But Israel, their hands are effectively tied. After they so much as have an air sawing of anything close to Iraq and Iran, the entire international community will begin to pass sanctions on Israel. And America, due to its policies, will have no choice but to stand by, which is exactly what this administration desired to have happen.
Yep. They literally were able, through this agreement, to change all of the Western world who were saying, look, we've got Israel's back, to shift to obligations to protect the Iranian nuke deal, which they know Iran was threatening the annihilation of Israel. So they've just isolated from Iran being isolated. It's now Israel's isolated. And it is prophecy. It is sad, but it is absolutely a fact that this is what's happened. And this is so, folks don't understand. When I get asked the question last night, even in the broadcast I was on, what's happened in the blood moons between 3 and 4 blood moon? The biggest thing that happened was obviously the signing of this agreement. This was the big shift and Israel has been desperately affected. Now, God's on their side, but if you look at it from the whole scope of things, Israel has been put in a little box in a corner, and they're being told to sit there. And so what happens from here is anybody's guess. I mean, we can read biblical scripture. They will get attacked. According to Zechariah 14, they will get attacked, but they will overcome. But it will be ugly. And I mean, that's just, I can't change it,
Yeah, it's going to, but I tell you what, you read that scripture all the time from Zechariah chapter 12, when Jerusalem is a cup of
Yeah.
People who are against Israel are going to be so scared because in the book of Joel, that's when God looks down and remembers his land. God will open his eyes upon everybody who stood against Israel. And by reading in Deuteronomy, when he spoke to the people, they almost died in their shoes.
Yeah.
And they said, Moses, don't ever have God speak to us again. We won't live. So what happens when he opens his eyes? Well, that secret's in Isaiah 34, when he has utterly destroyed all the armies of the earth. You see, Jerusalem is baiting all the evil from the world. Anybody who stands against Jerusalem is evil. And God's going to use his land to draw the enemy out and kill them right where they stand. He will utterly destroy them.
That's what he said.
And people, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, he said that.
It's going to be fine. They're going to be fine, but God's going to purge his fingers.
Yeah, he said that.
To draw everybody else out.
He said their eyeballs will melt in the sockets. He said that whenever they come over the hills in the Battle of Gog and Magog, he said that there will be so many dead bodies, it will take 7 months to bury the dead. Literally, it will take 7 years to burn up all the arsenal that's left. The birds of the air by unbelievable amounts of birds will come to eat the flesh. People don't understand what you just said. That has never happened, folks. That has never happened, but it will happen. And these agreements, this posturing and policies are setting it up. It's all coming to pass before our very eyes. Mike, I gotta let you go. We're over the time. We're way over the time. I appreciate you calling in. I know you're really busy. Looking forward to seeing you in September. Looking forward to meeting you before September personally. And just let us know in the email what the schedules are looking like. All right.
I sure will. I'll send you all an update near the end of the week. And also, Pastor, before you go, please